Which company do you think is a worthy opponent for SpaceX? Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin or Rocket Lab? It really seems like Rocket Lab just popped up out of nowhere and took the space industry by storm. It has reached the ranks of Elon Musk's SpaceX with impressive speed. And now they are well on their way to overtaking them too. How are they going to do that? With their brand new medium-lift two-stage Neutron rocket, which they announced just some weeks ago. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. By 2024, we can expect Rocket Lab's own version of a reusable rocket that will fly astronauts. This announcement came as quite a surprise, since Rocket Lab is pretty much stuck to launching tiny satellites on small boosters. So why the change of heart? The pivot probably because the company is going public soon and merging with Vector Acquisition Corporation. What began as a relatively smaller company in Auckland is now planning to launch crewed missions into space from California. When it was first founded by Peter Beck, Rocket Labs launched smaller satellites, like CubeSats, that weigh no more than 1,100 pounds. Not that they're going to stop doing it. After all, establishing mega constellations in space is the hot new thing. Just ask Starlink. Neutron is expected to be 40 meters or 130 feet tall, with a 4.5 meter or 15-foot diameter payload fairing. And in case you didn't know, payload fairing is the nose cone that protects the spacecraft payload against the impact of pressure and heating during launch. For the sake of comparison, their earlier model, the Electron booster, is 18 meters or 59 feet tall and can carry payloads of just over 660 pounds or 300 kilograms. In contrast, the Neutron will be able to launch up to an impressive 17,600 pounds, or 8,000 kilograms, which will allow them to make their mega constellation quicker. Quite a step up. It can carry 4,400 pounds, or 2,000 kilograms to the Moon, and about 3,306 pounds, or 1,500 kilograms, to Mars or Venus. And in time, it will also be able to support human spaceflight. The first stage of the rocket will be reusable, with landings planned on a floating platform in the Atlantic Ocean. As for the launch site, it's expected to launch from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport on the east coast of Virginia. They're also looking at locations across the US to build a factory for the new rocket. A reusable rocket was SpaceX's claim to fame for quite some time. But just last year, Rocket Lab decided to jump on the bandwagon by trying to make their electric rocket reusable. Now, how does this hold up to SpaceX's legendary Falcon 9 rocket? Well, for starters, it's 70 meters tall, so it's already towering over Neutron by 30 meters. It also has a payload of 25 tons, as opposed to Neutron's 8. But Rocket Lab believes there's a place for medium-lift rockets like theirs, since most larger rockets don't always launch with their full payload. Neutron gets the hardware out into orbit without spending exorbitant amounts and wasting storage space. Sure, Falcon 9 is the exception. It is tasked with delivering 60 Starlink satellites every trip. So far, it seems Falcon 9 is the superior rocket. So what cards does Rocket Lab hold? For one, Rocket Lab's Neutron is a much cost-effective option compared to the alternatives. The launch vehicle will transform how we access space, and it will provide a dependable, high flight rate solution for companies who want to get their satellites up there. The final costs haven't been revealed, but Rocket Lab says it will be a highly disruptive cost. We are inclined to believe them. Giant rockets with large payloads are definitely impressive, but efficiently building mega constellations requires launching multiple satellites in batches to different orbital planes. It simply makes no sense to spend money on increasing capacity when you don't use all of it. I wonder why Elon Musk didn't think of that. Rocket Lab says that Neutron will be designed to service increased demand from customers who want to launch large multi-satellite constellations just like Starlink. Their design will accommodate more payload, but it will also deploy it quicker. In fact, Rocket Lab will be responsible for putting over 90% of all satellites projected to launch by 2029. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. Neutron is going to significantly expand their customer base and also improve costs in a way Electron couldn't, because the new model is focused on efficiency and reusability. Still, Musk definitely hasn't made it easy for smaller launch companies to survive. Unnecessarily gargantuan they may be, but SpaceX still manages to deliver payloads at a low cost into orbit. So it's a good thing Rocket Lab has some other tricks up its sleeves. RocketLab's emerging strategy ensures they will stay in the game. The recently announced merger with Vector Acquisition Corporation will value the joint venture at $4.1 billion. With its existing funds, RocketLab will have a total of $750 million in cash to do what it needs to lower launch costs. And let's not forget, they are also planning to go public soon. And of course, reusable rockets will make the whole operation much cheaper in the long run. Reusability is key to affordability, especially when you consider flying a launch vehicle like this. RocketLab has been very carefully watching what SpaceX has been doing with Falcon 9 flights. And they'll gain more experience with Electron and apply those lessons learned to Neutron. Neutron has actually been in the works for a while now, even if Peter Beck hasn't admitted so. The company plans to have its first flight from NASA WALLOPS in 2024. This would suggest that RocketLab has been, at a minimum, working on larger engines to build a medium-class rocket, since engine development is the long pole in the construction of any new vehicle. The CEO is known to keep secrets. You have the Photon upper stage satellite, the construction of a second launch pad in New Zealand, and of course, him going back on his promise of developing reusable rockets. In addition to all this work, RocketLab also plans on launching a small satellite into lunar orbit for NASA this year on their Electron rocket, which is a precursor to the upcoming space station. This outpost for NASA's ARTEMIS mission plans to put the first woman and the next man on the moon, and also establish a permanent human base, thus taking our first step towards becoming an interplanetary species. Their Photon spacecraft is also working on a mission to Mars and Venus in the next few years. RocketLab expects to generate over $1 billion in revenue by 2026, and that is particularly thanks to their announcement of their launch, their space systems, and the space applications market, which is forecast to grow $1.4 trillion in less than 10 years. But in the short term, if everything goes as planned, we'll have a mega satellite launcher from RocketLab in 2024, launching from their facility in Virginia. Following second stage separation, the Neutron booster will land on a sea platform, much like SpaceX's drone ships. Peter Beck and his team haven't shared the details yet on how that would work, and it might actually be a while until we find out. Like we mentioned earlier, Peter Beck likes his secrets. What do you think? Will Neutron be the competition SpaceX needs to step up its game? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and check out more videos about tech on our channel. Thanks for watching.